Hey everybody, I got my co-host here next to me. I'm not going to put her on the camera because we're trying to keep the newborn off the camera as much as possible, off of social media, all that good stuff. But she's here, so if you hear something, my bad. So, anyways, my name is Jonathan. Welcome to the channel. So, in this channel, the whole purpose of this channel is really just to share information, give my perspective on things, kind of follow me on my journey through, collectibles, sports cards, everything else, and there was something that came up recently about unrealized losses. I forget whose video I was watching. I want to say I was watching, was it AIH, Sports Card Dad? I don't know, somebody. I was watching somebody, and they were talking about unrealized losses. And really kind of was like, I don't think people fully understand that concept, and I didn't either. In 2019, I came into the hobbies, right, into the different collectibles. I got comic books, sports cards, Magic the Gathering, all that stuff, all the shiny objects. I got really into. I think a lot of other people did, and I was not very financially educated. I'm on a financial education journey as well as getting into collectibles. I've had a basic concept of things that I believe most Americans, I feel like I'm a very average Joe person. And the more I learn and the more I come to realize different things, the more I realize I was extremely mainstream. I was extremely average, extremely gray, very blah. Just like the majority of human beings, I think, in existence. We all come to some kind of common understanding of how the world works and what the world is and different meanings. And so I was under the impression my entire life, and I grew up very poor. I grew up in East LA, if you don't know. I'm half Mexican and I'm half white. And I grew up in this dichotomy of worlds because my parents divorced when I was young. So I grew up primarily on the white side of the freeway in East LA, and on the every other weekend, or at least one weekend a month, depending on the situation, I would be over at my dad's side, the Mexican side of the freeway, and I would live in both these lives and get to experience the true differences in cultural, just in everything, and not only just language, but food and existence and what definitions of happiness are and everything. So like I got to grow up in this weird situation, which I am fully, I have no qualms about. I love my life and I love my upbringing and all the pain that went with it too, and all the happiness that went with it. I take nothing back. I regret nothing. And so growing up in that world, though, I think I became very, I wasn't financially educated. I didn't have the resources. I didn't have access to information. I didn't have those things, right? And so I grew up just with the common understanding of things by being a common human being. And so one of those things that I grew up just kind of like believing was true was unrealized losses. And I'm bringing it up here on the Google so you can check it out. And this is, I think, the general definition that most people truly believe is the thing. It says it's a paper loss result from holding an asset that has decreased in price but not yet selling it and realizing the loss. So for instance, they're talking about assets, okay? They don't say sports cards. They don't say permanent markers. They say assets, and assets has a definition. Okay, it does. And then depending on who you are, asset might mean a couple different things, right? But so they're talking about the paper loss. So in theory, the majority of human beings, including myself, consider unrealized losses when they talk about investments in the stock market. And so, for instance, over the last year, the S&P, the NASDAQ, everything's down, right? And so maybe you put money, like I have money in Activision, in Microsoft. I have money, just play money where it was discretionary funds. I could have put it in cardboard, but I decided to put it in some stocks, and some of those stocks are down. So if I sold it right now, I would have a net loss. But since I haven't sold it, and it just means that when I look at my account, I put in $1,000, let's say. And let's say I put it all into Activision or Microsoft. Let's just say Microsoft. And I bought the stock at, I don't even know the price, but let's say I bought it at $200 a share. So I only have 5 shares. But right now, the price per share is $100 a share. So I still only have 5 shares. I put $1,000 in there. But if I was to sell it, I'd only get $500. Do you get? So unrealized loss is the fact that on paper, I lost $500, but I haven't realized the loss because I haven't actually sold those 5 stocks. I still own those 5 stocks. So unrealized loss means the loss that is of like the value of your asset has actually decreased, but you haven't sold it. So you haven't actually lost the money because you can hold it technically long enough to a point where maybe it goes back up and you might make a profit on those. Right? So it's just ridiculous. It's semantics. It's saying that you've lost money on paper. Now, the thing that I want to argue and the thing that I want to challenge you with is that an unrealized loss, first of all, only pertains in certain things. This is not an asset, right? And we're going to talk about assets and liabilities next, but if this card goes up or down, people talk about like, oh, that card went down. So yeah, I have an unrealized loss, but I'm not going to sell it at a loss. I'm going to price it at what I bought it at. And I'm not going to take the L. I'm not going to take the L on it. I bought it for $200. It's going to be $200, even though it's worth only $100 now. You know, I'm not going to price it at market price. And I get that. I do that all the time. I price things however the hell I want to price things. And if you don't agree with the price, please go to the next person, right? That's an open market. If I end up holding on to something forever because I don't want to go down on my price, that's my problem. It's not your problem. It's my problem. Anyways, so unrealized losses. The argument is, oh, I bought all these cards. I bought these comic books. I bought all these things when, at the end of 2021 or the middle of 2022. And now all of these prices are fallen so far that if I was to sell them, I would lose all these things. You already lost the money. You already lost it. There is the constant obsession and this, I want to call it a sickness. It's like a disease where people use words to try and justify their actions, right? And I mean, that's true in everything. It doesn't matter what you're talking. You could be talking about collectibles. You could be talking about just your work ethic at work. You could be talking about the way you drive because you're a jerk on the road. You know, everybody uses words to justify their actions. And so if you're sitting on a binder full of beautiful cards or a case full of graded slabs and you're like, yeah, I spent 20 grand on this. I spent $500,000 on this. But you know what? Yeah, the prices are down, but I didn't lose it. I haven't lost anything until I actually sell it at a loss. I haven't lost a dime. I still have my $500,000. In your mind, you think you still have $500,000, but you don't. You don't. Neither do I. I paid $80 for that freaking Kobe Bryant 1996 metal card right there. Is it worth $80 right now? I have no idea. I have a baby. I cannot price things on a daily basis. I have no idea what that thing's worth. But I'll tell you what I don't have is $80. So do I have an unrealized loss over there? Do I have an unrealized gain over there? No, stop using words to try to justify your disease, your sickness, whatever it is. And I'm using cardboard as an example here, but I mean, it's true with everything. People think that, oh, I haven't realized the loss, so I haven't lost anything. Yeah, you did. When you took the money out of your freaking bank account, out of your wallet, out of your pocket, and you gave it to somebody else, you lost that money. Now, what happens after that with whatever you gained? So let's say you got this little freaking Kobe Bryant rookie card. When you sell it, you will either get some money, maybe you'll get more cards, maybe you'll get something else, and you'll realize something else. But you already lost the money. This is not an asset. You can't have unrealized losses on a non-asset. It's not an asset. This is just a freaking card. This, if I put this in a safety deposit box in the bank, my bank account doesn't get like monthly dividends, quarterly dividends, annual dividends. That doesn't make me money. It costs me even more. I lose even more money that way because I have to pay the monthly fee for a freaking safety deposit box. The definitions of assets and liabilities are very convoluted in our world, in our society for some reason. And it's a shame. You know what? It's not for some reason. It's for a lack of financial education. I was there. I was there for years. If you know anything about Google, you could just Google asset and liability. It'll give you a definition. And trust me, you can argue that your cardboard, Kobe Bryant cards and your comic books fit into this definition. You could make that argument all day long. And I get it. You can justify your actions and your unrealized losses by twisting around these words to make them fit your needs and your sickness and my sickness. And I have addictions like crazy. You don't even know. And so, yeah, you can make the words fit. But I believe that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? What's his name? Richard Kawasaki? Mr. Robert Kawasaki? I believe he has the best way of defining asset and liabilities. Truly. It's the easiest to understand. An asset puts money into your pocket, and a liability takes money out of your pocket. I was of the belief growing up that a home is an asset. I grew until 2000 and like the beginning of 2019, the end of 2018, I didn't even realize that there was another perspective. I thought houses, homes were assets, period. Like to think anything else why would I think anything else? Like it was a universal truth, right? Because of my access to information and education throughout my life, that's how it always has been. 2018, 2019, I started educating myself more. I was able to take the time to actually figure out different things and learn more about finances. And an asset puts money into your pocket every month. My Kobe Bryant freaking rookie cards, they don't do anything for me any time of any day. They are liabilities. I took money out of my pocket and I paid for them. And my baby just dropped one of my rookie cards. Hopefully it's okay. But it takes money out of my pocket every month. Well, I guess not really. I mean, unless you want to just consider the storage space on my desk. There goes another one. Maybe I should have different slabs over here. But yeah, I spent the money. I lost the money. I already suffered the loss. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, well, I haven't sold it yet. So even though I spent $80 on it, I didn't really lose it. Even though it's worth $40 now, I haven't lost $40 until I sell it. Like what? You lost the money. It's out of your money. This is not putting more money into my pocket at any given time. This is not an asset. Homes take money out of my pocket every single month because I don't have my house paid off. Plus, I have to pay maintenance on it. Even if my house is paid off, I'm still paying maintenance, utilities, everything else. My house doesn't put money in my pocket. My cards, my comic books, they don't put money in my pocket, and they don't put money in your pocket either. Unrealized losses in a collectible hobby world is just a justification for your addiction, for your sickness. And I have it too. All right, I'm not better than anybody. I'm a freaking COVID-born collector here. I started in 2019. I have addiction problems. I was addicted to start off with cigarettes and then adrenaline and gambling and alcohol. I've had many, many, many bouts with addiction. At one point, I had to have injections of naltrexone, whatever the hell it is, because I couldn't take my pills. So I wasn't trusted to take my pills. So they had to inject me every month with drugs. So I would stop being a dick. So I could stop being an asshole. That's how many problems I've had, right? And I've had countless counselings. I've been this close. My doctor had told me, my psychiatrist and my psychologist, both of them, but my psychiatrist told me she was about to freaking have the police come to my house and lock me up. Forced institutionalization. Yeah. I was that freaking close. And I was thankful that she didn't do that because that would have ruined my life and all my possible opportunities from then on. But she believed that I was making progress, and so allowed me to continue on my journey of healing, and I was able to get past that. It took years, but I got past all that. But it's hard, right? And I still have problems. Every day, I haven't smoked a cigarette since January 2014. New Year's. I haven't smoked a... Nah, that's not true. It wasn't New Year's. It was like January 5th or something like that. I haven't smoked one cigarette since then. Isn't that crazy? Every day I want a cigarette. Every freaking day I want a cigarette. Every day I want to gamble. Every day I want to pound a freaking fifth of tequila. Every day. So addiction doesn't leave you. You just try to figure out different ways of coping with your pain and different ways of coping with the problems that cause your addiction. And so I'm addicted to a lot of things. And right now, my drug of choice is cardboard, unfortunately. And so I'm trying to use my tools to fight my addiction. And I hope you do too. What do you think? Are we done? I think she's done. Unrealized losses are losses. You're just choosing not to admit it. Cheers, everybody.